All right, this time we're going to go ahead and call to order the Monday, May 12th, 2025 City Council regular meeting. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Jody, can I get a roll call, please?
Certainly. Mayor King,
Present.
Councilwoman Niner, present. Councilman Newberry, here. Councilwoman Emo, here. Councilman Juma, here.
Quorum being present, if everyone's had an opportunity to review the agenda, are there any objections to the agenda as presented? Hearing no objections, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. Everybody's had an opportunity to review the consent agenda. Are there any objections to the consent agenda as presented? Hearing no objections, the consent agenda is approved by unanimous consent. This time I will open the floor. If anyone from the public would like to address City Council, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Mason Smith, and I'm here with Smyco Contracting. I'm here today because we are working on the Timber Street pump station. First thing I want to address is that I do want to apologize on behalf of Smyco Contracting Group that this project has not been complete in a timely manner, and the request for an extension was not made in a timely manner. I'm also here today to kind of give you guys a rundown on why this has happened, and hopefully can have your consideration for an extension. So the pumps, flow meter, and VFD submittals. Well, starting off, the notice to proceed was signed 7/23/24 to start work August 7th of 2024. The pump submittal, flow meter, and VFD were turned into us from Haynes, who is our supplier, on October 11th of 2024, and it was reviewed by Allstate Engineering 10/21 of 24. It took approximately 5 months for the pumps to come in, or 150 days of our allotted 270 days. Once pumps showed up, we started work the following Monday, 3/17, and we continued work until 3/20. Following 3/20, we had to wait for the rest of the fittings to be delivered. So we were out of time for work. The piping submittal was turned into us August 15th of 2024, and it was reviewed August 19th of 2024. The order was placed September 23rd of 2024. And the last fitting that was needed to actually start proceeding with the construction arrived April 17th. Up to that point, we had done everything that we possibly could with the fittings that showed up. I think Tony can attest that in the back behind the pump station, we were building everything that we could, but without these double rubber expansion joints, they connect to either side of the pumps, so it is the first thing that has to go on the pumps to start that process. So yes, they arrived April 17th, then we immediately made way to Pleasant Hill and started working on the 21st of April. They arrived on a Thursday, kind of got our ducks in a row on Friday and started working that Monday, and we have not stopped since that date. Because this is an AIS job, meaning these American-made parts take much longer to come in, as the parts have come in, I feel as if we have been very punctual as to getting on the job. We have only been able to actually work on the pump station for 20 total days. Like I said before, on behalf of Smyco Contracting Group, we'd like to apologize for not turning in this request sooner. It was an honest mistake. I thank you guys for your consideration. I'm asking for a 60-day extension backdating to April 23rd of 25. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Do you have everything you need now?
I do have everything, yes.
When, I know it's a 60-day, it's backdated. When do you believe this project will be done?
I actually sent a schedule to Tony via email today. 60 days is allotting time for unforeseen circumstances. I believe we could, if everything goes well, get it done in 30 days. And I think that the new pumps and the new fittings and everything will actually be up and running sooner than that, within the next 2 weeks. It's just everything miscellaneous after that, the demo of the old pumps, the concrete pedestals, and getting the new grading in and painting, that kind of stuff to follow. So the new equipment, the main portion of it, should be up and running within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Are there any questions from council?
I'm sorry. I don't think I have any questions at this point, right now.
No, I don't have any at this time.
Except you will just make sure and keep us apprised of anything that comes up that
Yes,
might
ma'am.
hinder.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I do have one question. So you said I've got it here in my notes somewhere about it taking so long to get the part where it only gave you 150 days. Was that a delay because the parts weren't ordered on time, or they were just back ordered?
So as far as the one that we were waiting on the longest, the 205 days, that was back ordered multiple times. And I called Core and Main. I can't tell you how many phone conversations that Tony and I had about the expansion joints coming in. And I would call them probably twice a week asking, and they would email the manufacturer for us constantly, and I'm sure they could pull up those emails. Tony also called Core and Main himself and asked if the double expansion joints were in, and they said, I'm so sorry, this is an AIS job, and the American made parts, they do take a lot longer to come in.
So I'm asking out of ignorance, but an AIS job means that you have to use American-made parts?
Yes, some jobs differ, but for the most part, it has to be American made. I don't know exactly what this one is. Sometimes it's 90% to 10%. But in circumstances like this, especially on like bigger parts like that, you want to make sure it's American made. But if you have a bolt or a nut that's not American made in there somewhere, then that's probably like an exception.
Okay.
So.
All right, so council's gonna have a conversation with staff. Somebody this week will let you know
Okay.
what our decision is, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Anyone else would like to address council at this time? All right, we're gonna move on to the first item for consideration, Bill 25-17, amendment to Appendix B fee schedule.
Thank you, Mayor. Upon review of the 2024 Parks and Rec budget, it was found that there were significant losses in regards to the rental fees collected for the use of the pool facility. Increased costs for additional staffing requirements were not properly captured as labor requirements mandated that there be an additional lifeguard scheduled on staff for any event longer than 1 hour. These costs were not accounted for in the prior schedule, resulting in staffing costs exceeding rental revenue. Upon this discussion with the pool staffing company, clear guidelines were established in an effort to be able to offer low-cost alternatives for smaller, shorter rentals and to be able to cover all staffing and operational costs for the larger and longer rental options as well. Due to the labor requirements, the rental options are now going to be a 1 hour rental or a 2 hour rental option in an effort to minimize customer costs. Another factor that was driving up staffing costs was the fact that the current language was ambiguous in how to account for the guests. It was assumed by the majority of renters that the number of swimmers is what constituted how many guests to account for. However, we were required to staff a total number of entrants into the facility, regardless if they plan to swim or not, because they could also need staff assistance should an accident occur. Now the language for the rental rates clearly states the two groups are for total number of entrants into the facility, eliminating the confusion on who counts as a guest. You can see in Exhibit A that there's what we're recommending, is to remove the 3 groups that were prior in the fee schedule and to account for 4 new groups. First one being a 1 hour rental for a small group. A small group consists of up to 75 entrants into the facility. And there's also a 2 hour option for a small group. Then a 1 hour rental for a large group, which is 75 entrants or more, and an option for a 2 hour large group. Any questions?
And this is just for the rentals, it says, and doesn't impact daily and those kind of things.
Correct. This is only for a special event rental.
So you just did away with the medium group altogether?
The median group is really confusing because it costs us the same for a small or a median group because 75 is the threshold that they dictate everything off of. And a lot of renters would assume that that's the number of swimmers allowed. So if they had 35 kids invited and each one brought 1 or 2 parents, they would exceed that 75 number and be in the large group, but only be paying for the median group. So that's where the confusion came. So now they'll actually be counted as they walk in the gate. Parents, kids, anybody that enters the facility is going to be considered as part of the entrance into the facility. That's what separates the designation.
Does anyone from council have any questions?
No.
All right, is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this bill as presented? All right, do I have a motion on Bill 25-17 to amendment to Appendix B, the fee schedule?
I'll make a motion for Bill 2517, amendment to Appendix B, fee schedule.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I'll second.
I have a motion, a second, to approve Bill number 25-17, the amendment to Appendix B, the fee schedule. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Niner,
No.
Councilman Newberry,
Yes.
Councilman Emo,
Yes.
Councilman Jimmer.
Yes.
All right, bill passes 3-1. This time we will move to staff reports. You're up, Missy.
Okay, is this, okay. The last couple of weeks, again, I've still been covering as our building inspector is out on leave of absence, so I've been covering most of his duties. I will say that in the last 2 weeks, we have had an influx of grass and weed overgrowth, lots of complaints and concerns. We have probably sent out, thanks to my admin, Nikki, she's been manning those for me, sent out probably 30 overgrown grass letters. So we are monitoring those. We have gotten a good response. People are calling in saying, hey, it's just been wet. We understand it's been wet, so we've been working with those as well.
And Missy, are the couple houses on 7 Highway that have small jungles, are those occupied houses?
Yes.
Okay, I was just curious.
Well, 902 is occupied, yes. The one, it's actually Taylor 1 Maple, is on the corner of Maple and 7 Highway. It is not, it is vacant.
Okay, I think that's the one I saw the sign in there, and I was
Yes,
curious.
we have reached out to both of those properties.
Okay. Amy?
The last couple weeks I've been working with IT stuff in our email still with that 2-step verification. E-bills didn't go out right away this month because of Google changing their 2-step verification, so it's been kind of a process, being on the phone a lot with that, but I think we got those to go out. And our budget is actually on our website now, budget document, and I've been working with, our employees have P cards, purchasing cards, and for them to upload their receipts, they have to be like on a computer and upload it. Well, there's an app now, so I'm trying to get that all set up so the employees can just take a picture from their phone, upload it. It's just a lot easier for them to, if they lose a receipt, it's already on their phone, so.
Just flying through. Jeff?
This last week, we got our mowing contractor established and initiated. We are going through a little bit of a growth process with him because just the transition of our guys mowing it on our schedule compared to his, getting those things aligned. We've also been doing a lot of work down at the fairground with, coordinating with Tony and his group on the new concrete pad for the bleachers, the electrical upgrades that we're working on, and the upgrades that the lead center has been working on with the electrical and bleacher repair and the announcer's booth. So been doing a lot of coordination down there. The staffs also went out and got all the fountains de-winterized and flowing. We got a couple of hiccups. We're getting a couple of those with they're running dry pretty quickly, so we're doing some modifications to those. That's kind of has to be expected this time of year.
How many kids does the lead center have out there? Ish, ballpark?
About 75.
About 75.
Quite a few, yeah. They're a great group. They have multiple groups coming out and doing multiple trades, so it's impressive to see the coordination there.
So if anybody doesn't know, the Lead Center is a VOTEC school, from Ray Beck School District. They've been in a new building just for a little while, but they are rapidly growing in all the trades that they offer through there. So it's glad to see them to be able to come out and do some work. Tony?
Okay, we've been working with the contractor on Timber Street Pump House. Electricians were in there today doing some more work on setting up the HVAC units, wiring for the VFDs, stuff like that, finishing up some of that, the wiring. There's still quite a bit to do down there. The other thing is a 7 highway water line replacement project. We run into a little hiccup with MoDOT. They're requiring our contractor to have an additional bond to cover the sidewalks that they're gonna be putting the water line underneath. So, and they want a certificate of insurance that's issued to MoDOT, and then they wanted some soil testing as well. So we're working with MoDOT trying to get all that straightened out, and how they've kind of ghosted us for the last few days, not getting the information to us that they want. So we're just waiting on them right now to get our contract going. They have mowed everything into town. Their equipment's here. All the material is ready to go. So as soon as we get the okay from MoDOT, we'll be digging on that water line. DNR, we finally got the approval on the 5-year plans, and we saw that with the emails. So now we have 13 projects, 14 as I talked to Shelby the other day, possibly 14 now. So we have 14 projects that we will have 5 years to finish, where we don't have to go back to DNR for an additional permit. That's why they call it 5 years. I know that's really confusing, but so I'm hoping by the next council meeting I'll have kind of the priorities in order, and we can start going after the funding and getting that stuff lined out. I'm gonna try to do as many projects at once, so that I can keep the cost down, and the bidding cost down. So we may be tearing up quite a bit of stuff.
Is that something that we can, you know how we've been doing a lot of publicity for the bonds, you know, the police station puppies and parks and all, that we can publicize, really play up on Facebook to show the public that, hey, we got our 5-year plan and we're doing all this stuff? And
I think so. I think we can, as soon as I get those priorities, because there might be a few adjustments to it, working with Ben and Jason from Allstate, we'll get those priorities in order, and then I think from there we can probably get that posted out there. The guys have been working on the, from when we did the satellite scan last year, the water leak satellite scan. So there was, I think it was 9 POI, point of interest, that they wanted us to check out. So we are at, I think we're at 6 right now, so we've completed 6 of them. So we're hoping to finish those up by the end of the week, and then we'll be ready for our next scan. They were supposed to do it this month, right? Yeah.
But we'll
So
make
we'll
sure that you've
probably-
got your
yeah.
part done.
Yep. So they've been waiting on us. Guys have been really busy on potholes and patches in the streets. There's a lot of areas in town that need a lot of attention. Then, like Jeff says, we've been working with the contractors and stuff down at the fairgrounds. And then we've been helping out at the complex. We're moving a water line that ended up right underneath the corner of the parking lot. So we're going to get that out. Other than that, it's fine.
Chief.
Hi there. Last Wednesday night, we gave out, in partnership with the Pleasant Hill Education Foundation, the first 2 scholarships of many that I hope to come to 2 seniors from Pleasant Hill High School for criminal justice, Abigail Munns and Caitlin Curtis, both fantastic young ladies, and so we're pretty excited to be able to do that in partnership with the foundation. And so thank you, Jackie, for all the help, and look forward to another chili cook-off later on this fall and raise some more money. Additionally, we have Coffee with a Cop this Friday from 8 to 10. It's at KC Vintage Realty. So come on out and have a cup of coffee and maybe some sweet treats. I hope they have donuts, because that's what cops like. And just visit with your Pleasant Hill officers.
All right.
That's all I have.
Kylie.
I've just been doing regular social media posts, as Pat mentioned. I've been sharing a lot about the parks, and that's gotten really good feedback. Everyone wants them to be open, so we're coming to the finish line, which is really exciting. We also have the citywide garage sale this weekend. There's 32 registrants, and the map and the descriptions have been posted. And I've really just been working on all things fair.
Go ahead, Nikki.
Well, I will be honest, I've been on vacation a couple of days, the last couple of weeks as we were getting our daughter graduated. But with that, some of the things have already been mentioned, but we've had some pretty in-depth conversations regarding landscaping and signage for our parks, obviously, as we are, again, nearing that deadline of them being done. And like Kylie said, the anticipation is building. I think some of that just comes with, obviously, the nice weather and the social media that has gone along with that. I do want to add on to also what Jeff and Missy kind of talked about with our collaboration with the Lead Center, which has been fantastic. In addition to that, they work closely with Midwest Lumber, and through that cooperative effort, and since this, the work that they're doing down at the fairgrounds provided the opportunities for some hands-on learning, Midwest Lumber actually donated the materials necessary this year for the bleacher board replacements and the improvements that are going to be made to the announcer's booth. So with that, they didn't ask for anything, but we will, in lieu of, recognize them as a sponsor of the fair, because otherwise that would be money that would have come out of the allocated budget that we had for improvements to that city, those city assets this year. The other thing we have upcoming is we were asked to participate in the primary school career day that is being held next Wednesday down at the primary school. So I've been working closely with the counselor. I'm not going to pronounce her last name because I can't pronounce it and I don't want to mess it up. But I've been working with her, and so I have worked with each of our staff. I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, there's some work to be done to explain what it is that we do on the city that is, understandable by kindergarten, first and second graders, but we're going to do our best. A lot of times, we kind of saw that with our park opening or our kickoff event with, they like equipment. So, sometimes that's a better way of explaining that correlation of, those that serve you is by being able to see and touch things. So not that we're trying to turn it into a full-blown like touch a truck event, but sometimes that's easier than explaining other than like our Saturday morning, like how a bill becomes a law from Schoolhouse Rock, we're going to have something for them so we can participate. Obviously we're blessed to be asked to do that and see value in trying to, again, bring that connection with their community to them. So we do have that next Wednesday. So that's getting prepared for that is kind of my focus over the next week.
It's on my list.
Okay, we'll let Shelby take that one. Okay.
Jody, do you have anything for us?
I had an open enrollment meeting with employees last Thursday, so I'll have that going on the rest of the month. Having them go online to get enrolled and make sure everything's square. Also, business license renewals will be going out this week, so that should keep me busy for a couple months while they roll in. And I think that might be, next week I will be leaving for a loggers training. It's a one-night thing just to get certified to be a loggers administrator. We have to be certified to do that, so that's all I have.
Shelby.
Okay, some of my other updates that haven't been touched on, whenever Missy said that she has been filling in for building inspections, we also have, will be utilizing IDTS, a contractor, to do more building inspections in that time period as well. It is our hope that that is temporary and that is not a long-term solution, but that is what they are here for, is whenever you need additional staff capacity. And the deal Missy has kind of struck with them is that they will do new builds rather than just piecemeal different ones. Right now, we have no planned meeting for the end of May as it falls on Memorial Day, and our next regular meeting will be June 9th. I was talking with the mayor today. If something does come up in that time period, because that is a long time between meetings, we may have to schedule a special meeting or something like that, just to let you know. The one that Kylie mentioned is Community Day is Wednesday, May 14th. That's where the elementary school students come to downtown, learn about different businesses. City Hall has always been one that they come learn about. We are not near as exciting as the police department, so I think they are also one of the stops as well. We try our best.
Jeopardy. I love it.
Okay.
City council Jeopardy.
I sent an email on this one, but the Missouri Municipal League Westgate meeting is May 22nd. It's a lunch meeting that starts at 11:30 in Grandview. This is the one where they go over the legislative session, what the state legislature has been working on, what bills passed, what bills of municipal interest did not pass, and kind of what to expect for the future. I already heard a preview of it in the last week, 2 weeks ago. But I will also note that for those of you who have been around for a while, Richard Sheets is the head of the Missouri Municipal League. And this was his last legislative session, so he's very good at what he does, but if you want to experience Richard really quick before he leaves, that would be the one. The other one is I did get an update for the Pleasant Hill Marketplace. They have, so that's the development at 163rd and 7th Highway. They have finally kind of worked through some approvals with MoDOT, or what the plan is going to be with MoDOT. So expect that project to kind of start up sometime soon. They're working on their timelines, and I think we're getting very closer on that one. A P1 update that I'm shocked no one mentioned, and I thought of this whenever Kylie had said, or Nikki, the anticipation is building and people are looking for it to be open. We did have that conversation again on Friday, as I'm always the one asking, when are these going to be open? What can we communicate? Because we're continuing to hear from people. When can I rent the pickleball courts? When can I rent a shelter? And our very honest conversation is we're still communicating that they won't be open until the end of July. And really utilizing June as the grass starts to establish and all of that, that we use that as our punch list item time to make sure that it is ready to be open. Our rec sports will be utilizing portions of the rec complex. We've already signed off on some of the fields, and we will continue to do that just as we have with high school baseball. Limited open only during those times. That is where we're going, and part of the reason was Kylie reminded me of the Cass County Fair, and those ribbon cuttings will be coming at the same time. So she needed a better date to be able to coordinate through that month of July. But I will note, City Lake Playground is temporarily open. We haven't really communicated that because in a couple weeks it will be shutting down again, so we didn't want to make this mass announcement. But it was open this weekend. We do have a couple rentals out there over the next couple weeks before we close it down again. We signed off on the playground this weekend. Everything was good. Talked to insurance. It's going to be on the schedule. And it is being utilized, so that was good news. The other one that Tony mentioned, but I feel like needs to be said kind of in full, is obviously one of the improvements that we're doing at City Lake is the bathroom and shower house facility. One of the things that has been in the back of my mind is that Jackson County Water District 12 services City Lake. Jackson County Water District 12, a couple of years ago, said you have to find additional service before June 30th, 2025, or otherwise service will cease. What I knew at the time was that all of the residents were petitioning Jackson County Water District 12 to change or amend their boundaries and have that annexation. In the conversation that I had with Jackson 12 last week, I heard great news, which is they are considering an annexation of their boundaries, and that should be adopted by their board in June. Fantastic. I thought everything was solved until the water district manager told me that the city limits, or not the city limits, that City Lake is excluded from those boundaries. I know. I think their interpretation is wrong, because one of the things that they're hinging this on is that they believe the water district cannot service a municipality. And I was pointing out that that is actually unincorporated Cass County, not city limits. And so we're working through a couple options right now of what that future could potentially look like so that we could be included in it. I'm gonna note I'm a little frustrated that that was not proactively communicated to us. But as Tony mentioned, I mean, one of them would include, we have the ability to extend our line out in that area. Because one of their conditions conditions of annexation for the other residents in that area, even though it's unincorporated right now, city limits do back up pretty close to where those boundaries are, especially on the east side of the lake, is that they will not allow any new taps in that area. So if anybody was constructing new or subdividing their acreage out there, they don't have water service. And so one of our conditions that we talked about with these residents very early on, whenever they said, could we connect to city water, was, sure, if you want to annex into the city limits, which at the time they weren't interested in. So that is a potential that we have for in the future in that development. That does align with what the comprehensive plan says, that we're going to continue to go out towards City Lake. You know, that water main extension may make a lot of sense. Can I get it done before June 30th? No, I can't. So there are a couple other options that we are looking at. I'll report that back to you. I think that's it on my list.
We did have that conversation that we may have to do that as part of it, so.
Yeah.
We've known it was, a possibility was
Yeah,
coming.
it's about a mile between the end of our line and City Lake. So it's doable, but yeah, we'll see where we end up on this one.
All right, any questions from council for staff?
I was just gonna mention that with our 5-year plan, I talked to Jason just briefly about that. He said we can very easily do an addendum to that 5-year plan, which will add that into our project list. That's why I said 14 instead of 13, without having to do any engineering or DNR permit. So it would be very simple to add it to the list.
All right.
Well, I do have one. The UDC, have we made any progress on it?
Yes, Michelle can attest, we got through sections 7 and 8 this month. We'll be through 9 and 10, which is our last 2 sections. In June, those are bigger sections, so that's why we're meeting then. Our proposal is hopefully we can have multi-studio here to meet with planning and zoning in July and have a final draft to you guys at some point in August. Don't hold me to those dates.
Ish.
Hey, we're closer.
Yes.
I'm happy with that. All right, so tonight we do have a work session that will follow the city council meeting. But before, we need to have a closed session for RSMO 610-021, 1 legal and 2 non-legal. That's the one that's in there. So do I have a motion to go into closed session for RSMO 610-021 legal?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for RSMO 610-021 for legal actions.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, roll call, please.
Councilman Niner?
Yes.
Councilman Newberry?
Yes.
Councilman Emo?
Yes.
Councilman Huber?
Yes.
All right, we're in closed session.